All right, welcome, my friends, to a pre-recorded episode of Extreme Health Radio. I really apologize. We had so many audio, video, and technical issues going on today that it was like, I don't know what happened. It was like, I don't know, the stars were aligned. We had a great show lined up for Jason Christoff, and we're going to talk with him about, let me see what the title he put on there was. It was really cool. I was really looking forward to him. Self-sabotage, mind control, and how to rise up to your full potential. And this was something that that I thought would be super, super valuable, especially in COVID-19 craziness that's going on right now. So unfortunately, though, we've tried to connect and tried to connect and tried to connect, and nothing really happened. So I'm not really sure why that happened, but I have an awesome show. I got a lot of stuff to talk about, and it's always kind of funny because it almost appears as though there's nothing to talk about. But man, I've got so much to talk about. Things that have been happening inside of our Extreme Health Academy. I've got a bunch of articles that I have ready to go that I want to share with you. One about honeybee venom and breast cancer, and one about vitamin D and sunlight, the immunomodulatory effects of sunlight, as well as another article about the coronavirus deaths set to be wiped off the official records following an urgent review. And then Europe's top health officials say masks aren't helpful in beating COVID-19. And then finally, an article out of parentalrights.org about a child being taken due to COVID-19. So lots of interesting things to talk about. And it's weird not being live, I tell you. Excuse me. Yeah, it's really, really weird. I'm used to seeing you guys in the chat room, and for some reason we're not streaming, and I don't know what happened. So it's just one of those things, you kind of just have to let it, let the pieces fall where they may. You can try your best and all that, and try to make your plans happen, but not be attached to them either. So I usually love to go off of what you guys are saying in the chat rooms, but this is really unfortunate. Anyway, lots to talk about. So I don't know if you guys heard. First of all, did you guys see the massive sweep of YouTube last night and yesterday morning? The censorship is unbelievable right now. They are wiping entire channels down. And I'm telling you guys, this is happening for a reason. Like, they are wiping entire channels off of the platform, not just defunding or not just demonetizing them, not just taking a video down here or there or giving people strikes, but completely wiping entire accounts off of YouTube. And, I feel for these channels because, one day, A, that might be us, but then B, this is how people make their living, is through YouTube. And, the censorship is real because we're speaking things that they don't want people to know about, and it's basically book burning. That's happening. The control and censorship of the media, and if you can't get news from people you want to get news from, then they're just gonna make sure that you don't hear about the things they don't want you to hear about. And the censorship is massive going into the election, which makes sense. So much happening. So. Oh my gosh, where do I start? Okay, so first of all, I want to talk with a little bit about kind of carrying off I got an article about molecular hydrogen too. All these amazing benefits. I think 25 different benefits, 15 science-backed benefits of molecular hydrogen. I'll share that in a second too. But kind of piggybacking off of a live call we had with our Academy members this morning. Every Friday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. Pacific time, I hang out with our members inside the Academy, and we talk and we share stories, we share encouragement, we all share ideas. For certain people, like this woman this morning, Yvette, was wanting to heal her tendon. She had surgery on one of the tendons in her feet, and so I was sharing some ideas about how to restore tissue integrity and tissue strength, and we were all going back and forth and helping her deal with her recovery of surgery for her tendon health. And so these are the types of things that we do every week inside the Academy. And one of the things we were discussing before I tried to connect up with Jason was that this idea of changing your environment with your health before you focus on your food. And we get a lot of questions, as you can imagine, having a worldwide radio show and people calling in and emailing and asking for certain things. And a lot of people want to know if they should try the keto diet, if they should try all these different types of diets, Atkins diet. Gosh, there's so many of them, right? And they say, I'm having trouble with the keto diet. And it's funny because you must not listen to the show if you're asking me about the keto diet, because I don't promote that diet, but I get these emails and it's almost kind of enough to make your head scratch and kind of laugh a little bit. But one of the things we were talking about in the academy was this idea about altering your environment before you focus on the food you're eating. So that to me is much more powerful when it comes to changing your biology to support health. Okay. So like if you're going to try to change your diet, that's really difficult to do. And I don't even recommend that, because it's requires self-discipline. It requires thought. It requires planning, requires a whole different set of skills to understand what kind of foods to buy, what kind of diet to follow. And then it gets into all this whole blame game if you fall off the bandwagon. And to think that your health is tied to diet is one of the most weakening positions that you could be in. And I honestly don't recommend starting with diet first. And you would think like, oh, health, you want to eat right food, right? That's where diet, or that's where health comes from, but it's not that at all. And so I recommend changing your environment first. It's like the analogy of the fish. If a fish is sick, do you change its food, or do you change the dirty water it's swimming in? And the first place to look is the water it's swimming in. And so one of the things I was sharing was, let's get off this whole diet thing. And I don't mean to get off it in the terms of it's not important or that you won't ever fix it. It's just don't focus on that as the first thing. So the first thing when it comes to your health is offense, defense. And I like to think of this in terms of changing and altering your environment so that it supports your body's ability to heal. And so rather than focus on food and then go on and off and up and down, and these vicious cycles, beating yourself up and the blame game and all of that, let's focus on altering our environment that supports health. So what does that mean? How can you alter your environment? You're driving down the road, you're in the gym, you're riding your bike, you're walking around, you're listening to this and thinking, okay, how can I alter my environment? Well, there's a lot of different ways to do that. And I think, first of all, starting off in the places where you spend the most time, and that is your bedroom and the place where you work. Start there and then sort of expand out, much like, throw a rock into the ocean and see the ripple effect, right? So you just kind of fan out as you start focusing and altering these places where you spend the most time. So you spend the most time sleeping, right? All right, so how can you alter your sleep environment? Well, you can do that a lot of different ways. First of all, it's offense, defense, right? So one of the things you could do is get rid of your mattress. So mattresses typically have a couple things wrong with them. You're spending a third of your life on your mattress, right? So it's a good place to start. Most mattresses have metal coils, right? So those metal coils are going to attract the Wi-Fi, dirty electricity, all of these fields that we sleep in, okay? So you want to make sure to get a mattress that doesn't have those metal coils of any kind in them. The second issue with mattresses is most of them have flame retardants, chemicals in them that off-gas throughout the night. So not only are you sleeping on a mattress that has metal coils that's attracting dirty electricity, Wi-Fi, EMF of all kinds, it also has these chemicals in it that you're breathing all night long, right? So the first place to start would be to change your mattress. So someone in our academy was asking about different beds. There's the Samina bed, Samina. There's the Sleep Dream bed that's really good. And then there's the one that we have in our store called Savvy Rest. Our store is biochargeme.com. Those are 3 good options for beds that are non-toxic, chemical-free, organic materials, don't have any of the chemicals in them, no fire retardants, and no coils either. So that's one place to start, is the bed you're sleeping on. Then you can upgrade your bed by putting a Magnetico mattress pad on it, sleeping and bathing your cells in a magnetic field, because we're all magnetic creatures, we're magnetic beings. So you can do that. And then you can put a chili pad on there, which we also have in our store, that help you sleep very, very soundly and bring your core body temperature lower to help you achieve that REM sleep. And then you can start fixing the EMF in your room by doing certain things like getting a green wave dirty electricity filter, plugging those into the wall. You can get a sleep rest shield from Kenrola, which we have in our store. You can get a blue shield EMF dirty electricity protection device, the Cube. They have different models that we have in our bedroom. There's all kinds of things you can do to alter your environment, and then that would fan out to your workspace as well. So making sure that you're blocking dirty electricity in your walls. And so once you start doing that, that's a huge step to reducing the overall stress and burden on your cells, because your cells, the membrane of your cells, carry a voltage. And the health of the cell is determined by the voltage around it. Look into the work of Dr. Bob Beck. Dr. Jerry Tennant wrote a book called Healing is Voltage many years ago. Good stuff. And understanding how the voltage of the cell matters. And this is what Martin Paul talks about when he talks about the dirty electricity and the voltage-gated calcium ion channels of the cell, allowing calcium to flood the center of the cell. And when that happens, calcium gets inside the cell where it doesn't belong, causing all kinds of health issues. So those are some things you can do to alter your environment to produce health. You can bring plants in, you can bring diffusers in, you can bring an EMF netting in to make a mini Faraday cage. You can get organic blankets. There's all kinds of things you can do to bring plants in and do red light therapy before bed, or have red lights on at night. And so I would work, if you really want to be healthy, work on altering your environment, because it's the environment that our body's just responding to our environment. And it's the environment that's causing our body to act the way it's acting and to replicate cells that shouldn't be replicating and not going through apoptosis, which is the normal cell cycle. And so our body's just simply responding to our environment. So focus on that. And so that's kind of, I was sharing some more in detail ideas with our Academy members, exactly what to do for this lady, Yvette, who's one of our members, sharing some ideas, some websites, some resources that she can start pursuing to alter her environment. So lots of different things. I'm just scratching the surface here, but think about the environment you're living in first, and then get into the other things. Because like I said, this environment we're living in is something that's never been seen before, and it's so antithetical to human nature that our body and our cells simply don't know how to respond, don't know how to interact with this electrified environment we're living in. So you can go back and look at the electrification of our grid system and go back to the invention of of electricity in general in 1879 and look at disease rates and disease spikes, and you can see a scale that goes parallel to each other. Disease rising, cancer rates spiking. So with 60,000 new chemicals coming into our environment since the early 1960s and 84,000 chemicals currently in commerce, like, we can't just take some turmeric and think that we're going to be healthy. Or we can't just take some magnesium and think we're going to be healthy. Although magnesium would be the first place to start, it's really important to stop the barrage of toxic insults and our environment from causing our entire nervous system and electrical internal environment to just go haywire. It's like we can't find a reference point. And so this is one of the things I always recommend, because once you start altering your environment and you create an environment where health is supported, you start sleeping better, you start having more energy, you start healing from things, and you realize, I didn't even change my diet at all. This is so bizarre. I didn't even have to change anything. I'm continually eating crap, and yet I feel better. I have more energy. I go to the bathroom better. I have a higher sex drive. My hormones are balanced. I have all these benefits from just changing my environment. And that's not even counting the diet and nutrition piece, which I think is huge, but I think you get more bang for your buck and you move the needle more by altering your environment first before food. So anyway, those are the kind of things that we talk about, strategies of how we do that, and some resources and very specific resources and tools and things you could use to actually alter your environment. So these are the types of things we talk about, and it's so much fun getting to know everyone inside the Academy. Super, super cool. So I've got a lot to show. So a couple things about how the show works. And I just want to let you guys know, we do new shows every Friday morning at 10:45 a.m. Pacific time. That's when the new shows are recorded on YouTube. They should be live. I'm not sure what happened today, but they should be live. And then that show becomes an audio podcast on Sunday night. So if you're subscribed on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, anywhere like that, you should get a notification of a new show. Brand new shows happen Sunday night, Pacific time. So that's when the new shows come out, live on video Friday morning, and then that show Sunday night. And then the other 6 days of the week are our best of archive episodes. So make sure to subscribe to our show if you can. That would be great. Subscribe on iTunes, subscribe Stitcher, SoundCloud, wherever you're listening. Subscribe. So you get one show every single day, and then the new shows will be out Sunday evening on audio. So that's want to let you guys know about that. Some upcoming shows are cool. We have Daniel Vitalis coming on. Gosh, we haven't had him in, maybe 3 years. Adam Bergstrom. We're going to talk about mind hacking and body language. Dr. Gerald Smith. Richard Massey is going to talk about celebrating our origin stories. Dr. Smith is going to be talking about missing links in degenerative diseases. So lots of cool stuff happening every Friday. Oh, and then Morley Robbins, does iron deficiency anemia really exist? That is going to be cool. And then we're going to talk from our friend Cass, who is an Academy member. We're going to talk about essential oils and cancer. Lots of cool stuff happening. So make sure to subscribe wherever you are, YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, wherever you're watching. Make sure to subscribe or listening. Make sure to do that. And you know what I'd really appreciate? If you could leave us a review. Take the extra time and do that on your app, whatever you're listening to on right now. That would be greatly appreciated. We'd really appreciate that. So this show was kind of like an impromptu show. So I've got a ton to talk about, but I don't have any listener questions. I didn't have any of those lined up because we were supposed to talk to Jason, and we normally don't do that. But let's see, is there anything else to get to when it comes to our show? I don't think so. I think that's about it. Yeah, so we've got a couple new products in our store that I wanted to tell you about. I'll wait for a little bit to tell you about that. How about that? Let me show you this study real quick. I think you guys might like this. This is pretty interesting about bee venom therapy, right? So let me bring this up on screen, and you guys can take a look at this. Study, honeybee venom kills the most aggressive breast cancer cells in 60 seconds. It says here, new research could take the sting out of bee stings, which apparently contain an extremely potent cancer-fighting substance. Scientists are discovering honeybee stings aren't all that bad. The venom they release into our bodies is toxic to a wide range of tumors, including melanoma, lung, ovarian, and pancreatic cancers, according to recent laboratory tests. Now, a study of the effects of breast cancer has been published, revealing astonishing results. It says here, a molecule called melittin, M-E-L-I-T-I-T-I-N, I think, the very same substance responsible for creating the painful sensation caused by the bee sting, is also responsible for demolishing breast cancer cells within 1 hour. Wow. The Australian study tested this melittin on 2 of the most aggressive types of breast cancer, triple-negative breast cancer and HER2 enriched breast cancer, which have the worst outcomes and tend to develop resistance to existing treatments. It says here, quote, the venom was extremely potent, said Dr. Chiara Duffy, who led the research. We found that melittin can completely destroy cancer cell membranes within 60 minutes. Amazingly, melatonin was able to shut down the chemical messages between cancer cells, which are essential to cancer growth and cell division. And best of all, unlike chemotherapy and unlike radiation, honeybee venom had no negative effect on the surrounding healthy cells. The researchers say the melittin, I feel like it's melittin. I can't see it because I've got Iris on my computer screen and it's mixing up. It's putting all those letters difficult to read. Can easily be reproduced, so bees won't have to be harmed in the pharmaceutical industry if the pharmaceutical industry decides to let the treatment come to market. The study found bumblebee venom did not contain this chemical and had no effect on cancer cells. Interesting. Okay, so yeah, bumblebees, not so much. Doesn't say wasps or hornets, just, I guess, honeybees. But I find this line to be interesting. The researchers say melittin can easily be reproduced, so bees won't have to be harmed if the pharmaceutical industry decides to let the treatment come to market. Well, guess what? This ain't coming to market. This ain't happening. They're not going to let this come to market. No way. The pharmaceutical industry, from chemotherapy and radiation, each cancer patient is worth around $775,000, if not more. That's just an average. So that means that they're making a ton of money. And with a 50% diagnostic rate, and I would say that of the 50% of people that are diagnosed, that's 1 out of 2, I would say probably 98% of those people or more, 99% of those people are going to go through some sort of treatment. So that means 50% of the population of America are going to be worth almost $1 million. So what is the population of America? Like 330 million? Is that right? 330 million? So you got 150 million times 775,000. And that's just cancer, not counting cholesterol, high blood pressure. That's not counting anything else. So do you think the pharmaceutical industry is going to let this get out? That's not going to happen. It's business, right? They're just not going to let control like that get out there. People taking care of their own health. So this is the kind of thing that I don't know. I haven't vetted this out. I haven't looked further, but it's my job to sort of bring these things to you and let you know that they exist. And this is one of my jobs. So it's something that you can pursue further and let us know what you find. But this is the type of thing where people aren't going to tell you this on the news because it directly impacts the profit of this company. I was listening to something recently where he was talking about comparing his former pharmaceutical executive, and he was sharing that the pharmaceutical industry, people don't realize that it's orders of magnitude more powerful than the oil industry. And you know that wars are fought over oil, right? And you know how much oil is used to run our planet, not just in terms of fuel, but also in terms of, products made of plastic, right? So I can imagine that the pharmaceutical industry is orders of magnitude more powerful. He said it dwarfs the oil industry. And so that's pretty interesting. And you can see how it's taking control over this whole big C, little v virus going on right now. So you can imagine that they're not going to let this, get out. But this is part of our job, is to let you guys know about these solutions and these potential answers. And so if you know of anybody that has some extra cells in their breast, send this show to them. I'm sure you know of some people that might be interested. And so, send this over to them and let them know that this might exist and this does exist and it might be helpful for them, So, I always say in the age of information, ignorance is a choice. And, it's possible for us to do our own research. And when we do, our world changes because we're no longer controlled by fear. So it's really, really important, guys, to make sure that we do our own research and we empower ourselves. Here's another interesting article here that I think is fascinating. The immunomodulatory effects of sunlight. This is written by the Green Med Info Research Group. And it says here, let me bring this up on screen so you guys can take a look that are watching on YouTube or Facebook. Many believe that sunlight exposure has harmful effects, yet recent evidence suggests that the sunlight may improve immune function. Oh, shocker, right? Beyond its ability to increase vitamin D levels in your body, researchers have demonstrated that sunlight can improve the motility of infection-fighting immune cells and discourage the spread of pathogens in hospital environments. And I'll just read a couple lines here. The recent studies have indicated that sunlight exposure may have immunomodulatory effects and protect against infections, including acute respiratory infections such as influenza. Additionally, studies have shown that high levels of solar ultraviolet radiation UVR exposure are associated with lower rates of allergies, autoimmune diseases, and cancers. Oh, you said the C word. While these results are often attributed to increases in vitamin D, researchers have now demonstrated that sunlight exposure can improve immune function by improving the motility of killer T cells. In addition to these findings, researchers also point out that infectious outbreaks, including influenza, and there's something going on right now that's also what they claim is an infectious outbreak, tend to happen more often during the winter months than when people have little to no sunlight and UVR exposure. So this gets into the whole work of Dr. Jack Kruse. This is not surprising. Goes on to say additional research from Columbia University suggests that UV light can kill even drug-resistant bacteria without including skin damage. Researchers believe there are two main facets that explain sunlight exposure's effect on immune system or function. Increased levels of vitamin D. So this increases vitamin D levels in your skin, So skin cells absorb UVB radiation through skin exposure. So UVB is the frequency of light where you create the vitamin D in your skin through the cholesterol molecule and through your liver. So it says here, during skin exposure and converted to vitamin D, which is metabolized in your liver and kidneys and used throughout your body to regulate calcium, increase beta endorphins, and stimulate the immune system. A deficiency of this important vitamin is linked to an increased risk of cancer, heart disease, obesity, depression, cognitive impairment, and bacterial and viral infections. Unlike other vitamins, since vitamin D is synthesized in your skin following UVB exposure, sunlight exposure is vital for improving vitamin D levels and subsequently improving immune system function. All right, so what is this telling us? So you want to increase your immune system? Get outside. Get outside, right? So be tied to nature. Spend more time outdoors, guys, wherever you live. Yes, sunlight exposure can spread lipofuscinosis. And yes, that is true, but do it in a way that makes sense, all right? If regular sunlight exposure isn't possible due to your climate or lifestyle, vitamin D supplementation may be useful. I don't recommend vitamin D supplementation. But here it goes on to say that particularly the blue light from the sun, yes, blue light from the sun is incredibly beneficial. Man-made blue light, not so much. Not only not so much, but causes disease. It says here, UV light contained in solar rays energizes T cells by triggering the production of hydrogen peroxide in these cells, which enhances their motility in the skin and improves their infection-fighting capabilities. Now, it says here, researchers theorize that the photosensitivity of T cells may help explain sunlight's positive effect on immune function and suggest blue light therapy as a possible therapy for immune compromised patients. So what are they talking about here? They're talking about blue light from the sun. And so it says here the additional benefits are increased vitamin D levels, heals skin disorders like eczema, psoriasis, acne, improves melatonin production, the pineal hormone responsible for triggering your body's circadian rhythms, improving quality of sleep. Melatonin also plays a key role in the inflammation and infection of suppression and suppresses UVR-induced skin damage, right? And also melatonin is your number one anti-cancer endogenous hormone you make in your body, which is why I don't also recommend that you supplement it exogenously. Get it through the sun. Take care of your liver. Improve your skin health. With weight loss, provides emotional health benefits, improves cognitive function. It goes on to give a bunch of different studies here. So this is like, I don't even know why I have to share that, because we should all know that, right? And so this kind of leads me to one of our new products that I want to tell you about. I didn't even mean to do this, but this is the Spurti Vitamin D lamp. Vitamin D Sunlamp. And let me bring this up on the screen for you guys, because we get a lot of people in the academy asking if they should supplement vitamin D, and my answer is always no. I don't recommend taking exogenous vitamin D or DHA, or what's the other one? There's a ton of other ones. Iron, obviously, but I also don't recommend taking exogenous melatonin. These are all things that should be tied to nature. So we just went through an entire article talking about how there's a direct connection between vitamin D levels and sunlight and your immune system, right? So if people can't get enough vitamin D during the fall and winter months, there should be some issues. Maybe they're not eating enough retinol in their diet, right? Maybe their liver's not working properly. And I'll talk about a cool product that we have in our store for how to restore liver function. Really great protocol you can do. But maybe they're not eating enough animal-based fats, vitamin A, true vitamin A, which is retinol, enough cholesterol to help convert that in the skin through UVB exposure. And so I don't recommend supplementing vitamin D. I recommend getting it from the sun and making sure you're getting it from your food, or allowing your body to create the chemicals that will allow it to convert it through food, through the environment, and through nature. But if you are intent on taking vitamin D, I recommend everyone to do this vitamin D Spurti lamp. It's called SPERTI Vitamin D Sun Lamp. And if you live anywhere above the 32nd parallel, which is basically above or north of what would be probably Los Angeles, you're going to be low in vitamin D. And also realize too that low vitamin D levels are also tied to electromagnification and EMF fields in your environment. So if you're living in a microwave environment in the city, or you're living at really high or low altitudes, these can also affect your vitamin D levels. There's a good app you can get called, what is it called? What's the app called? There's an app you can get. Oh, D-Minder, D-M-I-N-D-E-R, that you can get. And you can get that on your phone, and it syncs up your environment, time of year, your weather, and it tells you how much vitamin D you need to get outside. But I also like to provide solutions for people that are in unique situations. And so this is why we have the Sperti Vitamin D Sunlamp. And I would recommend getting it and having it and using it maybe during the fall and winter months. It's 5 minutes a day, every other day. This is way better than taking vitamin D supplements, which is toxic. I don't recommend that. So the vitamin D Sunlamp would be massively helpful for you. So it's 5 minutes a day, every other day. You don't even have to do it that much. And this will help elevate the amount of vitamin D in your skin and in your body through the UVB exposure. So this is really, really cool. It's not nearly as good as the sun, not even close, but orders of magnitude better than supplementing vitamin D. And as you can imagine, what I was just sharing with you is really, really important to make sure your vitamin D levels are high in order to prevent diseases. So something definitely to consider. So if you guys are interested in this vitamin D Sunlamp, check it out. It's in our store, biochargeme.com. I'll put links to it down below at extremehealthradio.com/673, which is today's show page. And something else that I've been playing with recently, this is really cool. So actually, let me bring this article up because I think you guys would really, really think this is awesome. So I've been playing with what they call molecular hydrogen and actually Brown's gas, which is a step up from molecular hydrogen. And so I don't know if you guys can see here right now, I have my water and I have the cap on it. And this is water that's been infused with the molecular hydrogen gas and Brown's gas. And I've been drinking that, been using it for about a week now. And let me show you some of the benefits of this molecular hydrogen. Okay, so what it is basically an antioxidant of the smallest order. It is roughly 400 times smaller than vitamin C. It's 700 times smaller than CoQ10. And so because of its molecular size and weight, it can get to places in the body that other substances just can't get to. So this means it passes the blood-brain barrier. It literally saturates every cell of your body, getting into the lysosome, getting into the mitochondria. And when we had Tyler LeBaron on the show, he was talking about how it actually gets into the DNA itself. And we only talked about molecular hydrogen with Tyler LeBaron, but Brown's gas is like a step up from that. And so this is the premier free radical antioxidant destroyer. And it is incredibly small. And the fact that it gets into your DNA is incredible, absolutely incredible. And so it says here, hydrogen gas acts as a powerful antioxidant, has been shown to protect cells from the most cytotoxic reactive oxygen species. Specifically, the inhalation of gas has been shown to suppress brain injuries through these effects. It supports your body's own antioxidant system, signaling pathways associated with the prevention of disease. And hydrogen is also anti-inflammatory. It helps to reduce pain. It's a certain study on rheumatoid arthritis has shown a significant decrease in pain, and this is due to the reduction of the oxidative stress caused by the anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties of hydrogen gas. So it reduces oxidation. And why do we have oxidation? Because we live on a planet that is filled with iron. We've all been eating iron our whole lives through the Iron Fortification Project that started in the early 1940s. They doubled it, I believe, in 1969, increasing by orders of magnitude twice the amount of iron they're putting in our food. So we have oxidative stress and the inability to utilize oxygen, and this is what helps restore that. It protects your muscles. Hydrogen can speed up sport-related recovery, can help balance the pH of blood, which is incredibly important, right? Blood pH is incredibly important. It has an effect on cell modulation, appears to have effects in the cells that help maintain homeostasis and healthy modulation through healthy gene expression and cellular metabolism. Hydrogen positively affects cellular processes on many different levels. It says here it's neuroprotective, and it helps to protect the damage in the brain from Parkinson's patients. Also shown to have generally neuroprotective properties due to its ability to fight oxidative stress and get inside the blood-brain barrier. It breaches that because it's gas. Hydrogen is protective against metabolic conditions. Studies have found that hydrogen increases insulin sensitivity, decreases blood sugar, and blood cholesterol levels. These effects make hydrogen a potential therapy for fighting obesity, diabetes, and metabolic syndrome. Helps to boost your mitochondria, helps to protect DNA damage, helps to calm down allergic reactions. It is protective against cancer. Appears to be protective. Can we say that? Oh no. At this point, it probably doesn't surprise you that since you know how hydrogen can protect against oxidative stress and damage due to the DNA, hydrogen has also been observed to help reduce the side effects of chemotherapy. And it protects your organs as well, to numerous organs, including the brain, pancreas, heart, liver, eyes, and lungs. This is believed to be because of hydrogen's anti-inflammatory and anti-apoptotic and oxidative stress fighting effects. This is crazy, right? All of these studies. Look at all these studies that it references on PubMed. Over 15 of them, citing every one of these things that I was just talking about. So this is crazy, right? So this is the type of thing that I like to bring to the table, and offering that as a way of altering our life and our habits so that we can bring some of these practices into our life. And so what I've been doing is been using the Aqua Cure, and we can't say it cures anything because that would mean that we're making a medical claim. And so we can't make a claim. We can't say it does anything, right? It makes you feel healthy. How about that? But you can read between the lines on that. So this is why I like bringing these things into my life and getting on a preventative model with this stuff. So let me bring up our Aqua Cure, which I think is just the best. It's just the best. This machine is so cool. So it's made by George Wiseman, who's an inventor and a researcher, and we did a show with him. If you go check it out in our store, I have the YouTube video, not only of him, but also of Tyler LeBaron, who's the director and founder of the Molecular Hydrogen Institute. So you can learn more about it there. But I think there's also a 10% off code. That's right. EHR10 will get you 10% off of this thing. So what it does is it bubbles this hydrogen gas, and not just that, but it steps it up to Brown's gas. And what that does is it helps reduce oxidative stress, and it's incredible. So what you do is you bubble the gas and you breathe it for as long as you can every day. And there's different protocols. He goes in through, there's a walkthrough video where he describes exactly what it does. And I think it's showing like a 30% lifespan on longevity as well. But you also drink the water as well. So I drink 3 mason jars full of water every day. And now I'm drinking 3 mason jars full of not just mineral-rich water, but hydrogen-rich water as well. So much, much better and much more economical and affordable than the tablets, which over time cost you way, way more. So this is really, really cool. It's an awesome technology that I'm really happy to be using now as a preventative. So this is just amazing. And as time goes on, I'm going to report my results, and I've got different things I'm working on that I'm sort of keeping a list of. And that's one of the things that he mentions is writing down some of the things that you're working on, because over time you're going to start seeing the saturation of this Brown's gas healing you at the mitochondrial, and not just there, but the DNA level as well. So this is really, really cool. It's called the Aqua Cure Model AC50. And there's a 20 or 10% off with EHR10. So really, really cool. Like these are cool things to have in your back pocket as a way of supporting your lifestyle and your environment. Because a lot of these things are really cool in the sense that they allow you to do things where you're not really doing much, right? Like I'll sit at the computer when I'm spending time in our academy, for example, and I just got the Brown's gas going, and I'm just breathing that molecular hydrogen, saturating all of my tissues and my mitochondria and my DNA as I'm working. And I've got red light therapy going while I'm doing that as well. So there's things that you can do to radically improve the things you already do with no extra effort, right? So shining a light on you while you work doesn't take any extra work, doesn't take any discipline. All you got to do is flip a switch, and there you go, right? So it's passive biohacking, I guess you could call it. I don't even like that term, biohacking, but it's passive, right? So I love that. And so that's really cool. And I'm just really excited to be sharing this on the show and in our store, biochargeme.com. You can see it in there. And I would highly recommend saving up and getting one of these things and start using it. You can sleep with it. You can if you do yoga, you can get a long cannula and do yoga with it. You can do all kinds of things with it. You can take it and use it while you're driving if you have a long road trip. You can use it while you're reading a book, or you can do it while you're rebounding. You can do it while you're sleeping, while you're in the kitchen. You just got to get a long cannula, and they sell those on the website too. And it's just a really great tool to use. And people are reporting incredible changes with their health the longer they use it. So, gosh, talk about one of the most powerful healing devices ever. I wouldn't say healing, because what it's doing is restoring this hydrogen, it's the foundation to our very existence. And it's just restoring that to the body, and the body's doing the healing, right? So it's just really cool. Just really, really cool. So I shared with you. Oh, let me share with you also this cool study from Medical News Today. This is cool. I think you guys will like this. This goes back to the vitamin D conversation we're having. So let's hear, what are the health benefits of vitamin D? Human body produces vitamin D as a response to sun exposure. A person can also boost their vitamin D intake through certain foods or supplements. I don't recommend that. We're going to have a guy, Jim Stevenson, on the show soon, and my friend Matt Blackburn interviewed him. But I've known about his work for a long time. It's just these people are out there doing great work, and sometimes you need a little reminder from other friends that interview them as well. To reach out to him. And so, he's going to be on the show talking about why you shouldn't take exogenous vitamin D supplementation. Talk about a researcher. This guy's amazing. And Matt Blackburn's got an awesome show, Mito Life Radio. I highly suggest you listen to it. So it says here, a human body produces vitamin D as a response to sun exposure. A person can also boost their vitamin D intake through certain foods and supplements. Vitamin D is essential for several reasons, including maintaining healthy bones and teeth. It may also protect against a range of diseases such as type 1 diabetes. By the way, if you're, I don't recommend taking vitamin D exogenously because it has an effect on bones and teeth. If you really want to strengthen your bones and teeth, I would get on vitamin K2 from my friend Matt over at Mito Life. And I think we offer a 15% discount. Is it 10 or 15? If you go to biochargeme.com, you can grab that coupon code for his, you can use it every single time through his website. If you're worried about osteoporosis, if you're worried about, oral health, these types of things, and getting calcium in the right places, make sure to take vitamin K2. Anyway, it says here, despite its name, vitamin D is not a vitamin, but a prohormone, a precursor of a hormone, a corticosteroid actually. Vitamins are nutrients that the body cannot create, and so a person must consume them in the diet. However, the body can't produce vitamin D. So here's some of the benefits of vitamin D, which I'll read here. Promotes healthy bones and teeth, supports immune, brain, nervous system health, regulating insulin levels and supporting diabetes management, supporting lung function and cardiovascular health, inducing the expression of genes involved in cancer development. Ooh, that C word again. Uh-oh. FDA is going to come after us. Vitamin D plays a significant role in the regulation of calcium and maintenance of phosphorus levels in the blood. So phosphorus too, if your phosphorus levels are below, I believe it's like 3.0, you start getting into teeth and oral issues. So phosphorus levels in the blood are directly tied to your oral pathology and whether or not you get cavities. These factors are vital for maintaining healthy bones. People need vitamin D to allow the intestines to stimulate and absorb calcium and reclaim calcium that the kidneys would otherwise excrete. Similarly, in adults, vitamin D deficiency manifests as osteomalacia, a softening of the bones. And this results in poor bone density and muscular weakness. So it talks about the reduced risk of flu. Research suggested that some studies had found that vitamin D had a protective effect against the influenza virus. However, the authors also looked at other studies where vitamin D did not have this effect on flu and flu risk. Healthy infants. Wow, look at this. Vitamin D deficiency has links to high blood pressure in children. A 2018 study found a possible connection between low vitamin D levels and stiffness in the arterial walls of children. That's crazy, right? We had, who was that guy on our, Dr. Ken Sutter was on our show years ago. And he was, I think he fought in the Vietnam War, and he was exposed to massive amounts of Agent Orange and changed his life, right? So he had to start doing all these detox protocols. But he was citing a study, I think, in one of his research articles and things he was looking at that 18-year-old kids are showing plaque and buildup in the arteries and basically heart disease. 18 years old. Probably, I'm guessing, because of oxidative stress, iron in the food, a lack of vitamin E. What else? A lack of magnesium. All of these things. The article goes on to say an example of this is children who live closer to the equator have lower rates of admission to hospital for allergies, plus fewer prescriptions of auto-injectors. They're also less likely to have a peanut allergy. So this is crazy, right? Healthy pregnancy, deficiency. Although the body can create vitamin D, a deficiency can occur for many reasons. Skin type, sunscreen, geographical location, which it doesn't really talk about elevation, right? Geographic location or the amount of non-native EMF in your environment. But I wouldn't expect medicalnewstoday.com to know that. But it says breastfeeding infants who exclusively breastfeed need a vitamin D supplement. Isn't that interesting? That's not true, especially if they have dark skin or have minimal sun exposure. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommend that all breastfed infants receive 400 internal units of oral vitamin D. That's awesome. It's actually not, because nature knows more than the American Academy of Pediatrics. Why is there no iron and no vitamin D in breast milk? It's like that for a reason. Come on, people, wake up. Wake up, American Academy of Pediatrics. Trying to violate nature. It's not going to work. Symptoms of vitamin D deficiency may include regular sickness or infection, fatigue, bone and back pain, low mood, impaired wound healing, hair loss, muscle pain, cardiovascular conditions, autoimmune issues, neurological infections, pregnancy complications, certain cancers, prostate, breast, and colon. Good sources of vitamin D: fatty fish, egg yolks, cheese, beef liver, mushrooms, fortified milk, fortified cereals, and juices. So I wouldn't go for the fortified milk. I wouldn't go for the fortified cereals. I wouldn't go for the fatty fish, personally. I'd go for the egg yolks, the cheese, the beef liver, and mushrooms. So what you want to do is get that vitamin D from the sun or from the Spurti lamp. Sun is optimal. Sun is optimal. Nothing can compete with nature. But if you want to take an exogenous form of vitamin D, get it from a device like the Spurti. So moving into the fall and winter, I would definitely recommend getting one of these guys. Super, super important. 5 minutes every other day. I mean, who doesn't have that, right? So it's crazy how many tools we have our exposure to, right? Things that we can do tied to nature to help us heal. Really, it's what it's really all about. So a couple more things I want to share with you that are pretty interesting. And this has to do with this whole big C, little v thing. And I think most people, at least I hope, have seen through the ridiculousness of this whole thing. One day the CDC is saying wearing masks. Next day they're not. They're flip-flopping. WHO is contradicting the CDC. Dr. Fauci is contradicting both. I mean, it's just a complete show here. But this comes out of the Sun in the UK edition, and it says, let me bring this up. Death flaws, thousands of coronavirus deaths set to be wiped off. official records following urgent review. So, I mean, I don't honestly know what people are thinking, because people that I guess just read the news, watch the news, they're just fed a spoonful of lies, and they're not willing to look at other information. It says here, thousands of COVID deaths are set to be wiped off official records following an urgent review into counting the flaws. Scientists raise the alarm after discovering anyone who tests positive and later dies is currently included in the Public Health England numbers, even if they were hit by a bus months later. This is out of the UK, The Sun. This is nuts, guys. Like, this stuff is out there, but yet you don't hear it. It's like some article that's buried in their website and never makes it onto the news. And the masses of sheep out there that just watch the news never hear about this because they don't do any research. And they just believe whatever Fox or CNN is telling them. It means that no one can ever recover from the virus, and all of England's 265,000 confirmed cases would eventually be added to the toll. Matt Hancock will now step in and bring the figures in line with Scotland and Northern Ireland, who only count death as COVID-related if it occurs 28 days after a person tests positive. So, guys, they haven't adequately isolated the virus. The PCR test was developed by a guy named Dr. Kerry Mullis or Mullins. I think Kerry Mullis. And he went on to say that test that he created, the PCR test, is not sufficient for testing for coronavirus. It should not be used. But people don't talk about that. They just talk about, if you're diagnosed with it. It doesn't mean anything. A second weekly measure, which records fatalities within 60 days of infection, will also be established. An official announcement on the new approach is expected by the end of the week. It could see England's official coronavirus death tolls of 41,686 reduced by as much as 10%, or 4,000 people. God, people. The masks don't work. Social distancing doesn't work. All of this stuff is designed to bring in a new society. It's designed to cripple the economy. It's designed to get you to live in fear of a magical virus that's invisible, that is going to run around and kill everyone. Guys, we're being played. We're being played. Here's another article here. It says Foundation for Economic Education, FEE.org. Europe's top health officials say masks aren't helpful in beating COVID-19. Duh. People, the micron size of these particles goes right through the mask, even the N95 mask. Denmark boasts one of the lowest COVID-19 death rates in the world. As of August 4th, the Danes have suffered 616 COVID deaths, which I would argue prove to me that those people died from that virus, not with it, but from it. According to the figures from Johns Hopkins University, that's less than 1/3 of the number of Danes who die from pneumonia or influenza in a given year. Despite this success, Danish leaders recently found themselves on the defensive. The reason is that the Danes aren't wearing face masks, and local authorities, for the most part, aren't even recommending them. This prompted Berlingske, the country's oldest newspaper, to complain that Danes had positioned themselves to the right of Trump. The whole world is wearing face masks, even Donald Trump, Berlingske pointed out. This apparently did not sit well with the Danish health officials. They responded by noting there is little conclusive evidence that face masks are an effective way to limit the spread of respiratory viruses. Quote, all those countries recommend face masks haven't made their decisions based on new studies, said Henning Bungard, chief physician of Denmark's, I can't even read that. According to Bloomberg News, Denmark has since updated its guidelines to encourage but not require the use of masks on public transit where social distancing may not be possible. Denmark is not alone. Despite a global stampede of mask wearing, data shows that 80 to 90% of people in Finland and Holland say they, quote, never wear a mask when they go out, a sharp contrast to the 80-90% of people in Spain and Italy who say they always wear their mask when they go out. Public health officials recently explained why they're not recommending masks. Quote, from a medical point of view, there is no evidence of a medical effect of wearing face masks, so we decided not to impose a national obligation, says Medical Care Minister Tamara Van Ark. Others echoing statements similar to the U.S. Surgeon General from early March said masks could make individuals sicker and exacerbate the spread of the virus. Quote, face masks in public are not necessary. Based on all the current evidence, said Cohen Brenz, spokesman for the National Institute of Public Health and Environment, quote, there is no benefit, and there may be even a negative impact. In Sweden, where COVID-19 deaths have slowed to a crawl, public health officials say they see, quote, no point in requiring individuals to wear a mask. That's Sweden. With numbers diminishing very quickly in Sweden, we see no point in wearing a face mask in Sweden, not even on public transport, said Anders Tengel, Sweden's top infectious disease expert. The top immunologists and epidemiologists of the world can't decide if masks are helpful in reducing the spread of COVID-19. Indeed, we've seen organizations like the WHO and the CDC go back and forth on their recommendations. Here's a quote from the CDC's, I guess, Twitter account. This is from February 27th, 2020. The CDC does not currently recommend the use of face masks to help prevent first of all, it's not novel, coronavirus. Take everyday preventative actions like staying at home when you are sick and washing your hands with soap and water to help slow the spread of respiratory illness. The CDC does not currently recommend the use of face masks to help prevent the novel coronavirus. Twitter account, February 27th, 2020. This is crazy, guys. I almost want to play this video, too. This is the CDC director, Robert Redfield, MD. I wonder if I can play this video. Let me see. Let me put on my mask. Jeez, look at the programming they're getting us to put on my mask. Okay, let's see. I don't think this will play, but let me take a look here. Okay, so yeah, sorry, that doesn't play through the vMix. But then, yeah, so it goes on to say, I mean, it just goes into this whole masking thing. And this is the type of thing. So the WHO says here, organization's latest guidelines on wearing masks. So I'll put a link to this article, guys. This is the type of thing I put into the Extreme Health Academy. We're coming into research sort of every single day with this stuff, and it's what I put in there. So, you know, if you guys are looking for like actual causative data and links to source material, this is where we put it inside the Extreme Health Academy. We've got a whole COVID-19 section, which is crazy, right? Like, why do we have to have this whole section inside of our academy with updated research? We update it every single month. And why do we have to have that? Because people don't know how to do research. People don't know how to look at studies. People don't know how to look beyond what they're learning in the mainstream news. And so, you know, you have a nation of people parroting. I talked to our neighbor the other day, and I was telling him, or he was telling me, that he doesn't think society is going to go back to normal until they have a vaccine. It's like, do you think that thought came into his head on his own free will? That was an original thought that he thought about? Or was that thought given to him through a stranger on the TV screen that told him that? That's not something he came up with, right? That is a thought that was given to him through the mainstream media, through the propaganda and the programming that they're trying to give to every person. And now, just like you would go to a concert and, you know, listen to your favorite musician do a song, one of your favorite songs, you sing the lyrics as he sings them, right? This is what the population is doing. They're just parroting the little phrases and things that they want people to do. And so people like him are saying, yeah, I don't think our society is going to go back to normal until we have a vaccine. You know, I just looked at him like, you got to be kidding me. And when we walk our dogs, I walk by his house and he's always got the news on, you know? And so it's like one of those things where you're being spoon-fed these lies and you just parrot them, you know, and you live in fear. And I don't know when people are going to wake up. I honestly don't. You don't catch this virus. It's not deadly, in my opinion. And I don't know what more we can do to wake people up from this. You know, it's got a point. You have a 99.976 chance if you're under 70 years old from recovering from this. That's not any reason to shut down the economy of the world, right? You have a 0.00026% chance of getting infected. This is no reason to shut down the entire world. It's just not. And so I told that to him. I said, hey, at least there's a 99.976 chance that you're going to overcome it should you ever get infected. And he's like, oh. And it kind of just didn't know. It was kind of late, so it was a little bit dark, And so he just kind of looked at me with glassy eyes, and I said, all right, well, I'll see you later. But that's not going to register with him because people want, I think ultimately, like I was saying today in our academy, people want to be afraid. People want to be fearful. People want an authority. It's like submission to authority for the sake of certainty, right? People want to be afraid. They want to be told what to do. They want to be told by an authority figure how things are, how the body works, and how you're going to be, right? So you're not okay unless the doctor tells you you're okay. You're not doing well unless the doctor tells you you're doing well. It's one of those things that I think is just very sad. We're waiting for authority figures to tell us how to live our life and tell us how to feel about ourselves. Trump came out the other day and said he thinks he's immune, and people laugh at him. And I don't support any political party, just so you know. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Biden supporter. I'm a proponent of personal responsibility and living life on your terms to the best of your ability, regardless of who's in office. And these are slave masters. And I know there's a lot of people that are involved in the QAnon movement, and I fully understand what that's all about. And parts of it make sense, with the pedophilia and all that stuff and the trafficking. I think that's huge. I think a lot of people are coming to understand how the media's bought and paid for, and there's all this stuff going on. But I think ultimately when you outsource your emotional health to these people and to these ideas, I think bad things happen, because ultimately what needs to happen is there needs to be a change in all of our lives for us to take full responsibility for not just our health, but for every aspect of our life. And to understand truly at a deep level that we create every situation and we create every environment that we're exposed to and we're dealing with. And when you take ultimate responsibility for everything that you're doing, then you can start making changes that affect you and then affect others as well. And I think the world becomes better that way. And so anyway, going back to what Trump was saying, he was saying that I'm immune, and people are laughing at him for that. But I think that here's a guy who was saying he's immune. His doctors didn't tell him you're immune. He chose to believe that. And I think that's one of the most powerful things that we can all do, is that we can all just say and live in that space that we're healthy and we're making changes and we're getting healthier every single day. And the subconscious mind listens to that. And that's what really controls our health, is what does your subconscious mind believe? That's the invisible process that causes certain things to happen in your body. Why is your body using an invisible process? Why does your body think it's a good idea to make cells that don't go through apoptosis and to have viruses replicate and take over different aspects of other cells? Why does your body create all these, have these parasites that overtake your body? This is an invisible process. And what is that? That's the key, is figuring out what that is. So I thought that was pretty funny. So, all right, we're going to take one final break, and then we're going to come back and talk about a child that was taken away due to COVID-19. This is crazy, crazy story. So a couple things I want to talk with you guys about really quickly is this Relax Far Infrared Sauna. I want to show this right here. And this would be another thing that I would highly recommend moving into the fall season, because this is not just a way of detoxification, although it is. It's basically a light box. It's a light therapy device. And here's Daniel Vitalis talking about that. It's pretty cool.
Use your sauna. I know you guys promote saunas. I won't go on about that, but I think it's important to use saunas because they help to increase body temperature. There's a lot of great benefits to that. But some that I like are that in wild nature, we experience hot and cold. And at room temperature, which is a domesticated thing, we don't really get to feel metabolic extremes. So I think it's really good to challenge your body to cool itself and to heat itself. And so because I'm saying heat itself, I really recommend cold showers. Let's say 80% of your showers end cold.
Oh.
Right? You don't have to do it every time, but most of the time, if you end your shower cold, you'll start to build up your resistance to cold, and you'll also really tonify your skin and also kind of help to wring your body out at a detox level. That's really important.
Yeah, guys. So this is why we recommend these saunas. Incredible, incredible machines and devices to have in your home that you can bring these tools to your home, like the Aqua Cure, the Spurti device for vitamin D production, the Relax Far Infrared Sauna, which is basically a light box that allows you to detoxify and shake loose a lot of these chemicals, heavy metals, and toxins that we're exposed to in our environment. They get stored in our fat cells. And so not only that, but there's also a direct connection to immune system function, up to 40% from the regular use of far infrared light through sauna therapy every single week, at least 3 to 5 times a week, they're showing. Life expectancy, detoxification. If you come down with a cold or flu, this is a great thing to get in and do right before bed, and you sleep like a baby. You sweat out all these chemicals through your sweat, and they've done studies where they've tested the sweat before and after. They've tested the urine before and after, and they've shown significant increases in these chemicals that come out of your body. And so this is why we recommend, doing this 2, 3, 4 times a week, 5 times a week maybe. Right now I do it 3 times a week. I used to do it more before I had kids. But 2-year-old twin boys is kind of challenging to get time away. But what I do now is I sit with the molecular hydrogen unit on, and I sit in the sauna all at the same time. So I kind of double up on that. So these are powerful devices, award-winning devices made in a university in Taiwan. Great far infrared technology, which goes all the way down to your bones and oscillates your fat cells to shake loose those toxins that you can sweat out through your skin. There's all kinds of different protocols you can do with it. What I like about it is your head sticks out. So that means you can watch a documentary, you can watch something on TV or whatever you want to do, read a book, and your head sticks out. So that's very important to not heat up your head. Ayurvedic talks about that. So it's really, really important to not heat your head up too much. And so that's why I like this one a lot. Very, very low EMF. But what I like about it too is portable. You can break it down. You can loan it to a friend. You can move it room to room. And the far infrared light on the inside heats up like immediately. So you don't have to preheat this thing. It doesn't take a lot of electricity. Won't increase your electrical bills at all. And you sweat within minutes. So I love, love, love our Relax Far Infrared Sauna. So I recommend getting some of these devices. Turn your home into a healing place and get into doing these things, a couple times a week at least. Really, really important. And here's something else that I was going to share with you too that I think is really powerful is this new product we have in our store. These are castor oil packs. Now, I don't know if you guys know about the power of castor oil and what it can do for you. So what you do, it's really cool. You put the castor oil, this organic castor oil in glass over your liver, and your liver has over 500 functions. And it's responsible for not just filtering and storing toxins and getting rid of those things, but also for stomach acid, for regulating iron, for tons and tons of other digestive processes. Like your liver is the key to your health. And, if you have any kind of health issue, most likely it's going to go back to your liver. And, you could do coffee enemas for your liver. That's really, really helpful in healing as long as you don't do it too often. But what I like is castor oil. And check this out. I learned this recently from my friend Morley, who's been on the show, that for a long time, people didn't understand why castor oil was so good. And it's like a polyunsaturated fat, right? Like, why is that good to get on your skin when typically we don't recommend PUFAs, right? But what Morley shared recently was that there's a certain chemical in castor oil that helps deplete iron in whatever tissue or organ it's placed on. So this means you're actually putting castor oil over your liver and helping it to detoxify iron from your liver, which is huge. So what's cool about these castor oil packs is they're They're reusable. There's way less mess with them. You don't have to heat it, although you can. But what's cool about it is that you can go to sleep with these things and do a 10 or 8 hour castor oil pack protocol. And it says here, function of digestion, absorption, and elimination, antioxidant, and anti-inflammation, reduce tension and stress reduction, microbiome balancing. And this is really cool, guys. So what's cool about this is you can buy one of these things. They're, I think, as low as like $60, or you can spend 100, and get a kind of a pack of it. And you can reuse these things, and they'll last you months and months and months and months. And you can do this every single night before bed. And you can do it all during the time that you sleep too, because it's a little pack that this lady made that you can use all while you're sleeping, which is so cool. So I recommend Over the Liver. We did a whole show with Dr. Marisol Tijero about this, and there's a code for 10% off, EHR10. That will give you 10% off. So get one of these things, guys. Start doing this, because you go to sleep anyway, right? Put this castor oil and start healing while you sleep. Such a cool way to do it. And with the liver having over 500 functions, if you improve your liver health, you're going to improve this downstream process of like so many things that your body's dealing with. So when you combine vitamin D from the sun or from the Sperti device, the molecular hydrogen and Brown's gas from the Aqua Cure, when you combine that with light therapy from the Relax Far Infrared Sauna, when you combine all of these things together, it's like it begins to snowball. So this is really cool, guys. So get one of these castor oil packs. I'll put a link to it at extremehealthradio.com/673, which is today's show notes, or today's show number, I should say. And it's also be available at biochargeme.com. So really cool. So let's see. Oh, one more article to share with you, but stay tuned.
You're listening to Extreme Health Radio, and I hope you're enjoying this show. Please share it with your friends by tagging at Extreme Health Radio on Instagram. Stay tuned for new shows weekly.
New shows every Friday morning, like I said, 10:45 a.m. Pacific time on Friday morning is when you can join us on there, and all kinds of cool stuff happening. So make sure to subscribe. Make sure to get on our mailing list. Also, if you guys want to get on our mailing list, I'd really recommend you do that. That way, I'll give you a little bonus that I can't talk about on publicly, but I can share with you once you sign up. I'll let you know about it right then and there. So here's one final article before we head out. It says here, let me bring this up. It finally happened. Child taken due to COVID-19. And it says here, well, it looks like they've finally done it. We've been watching for it all along, hoping against hope that the system would prove us wrong and somehow behave itself. But we kept watching because we know the system is what the system is made of. Quote, today in Dependency Court Madness, LA County Department of Children recommended that the court remove my client's child from their physical custody after the parent tested positive for COVID-19. This is a non-offending parent. The judge ruled in favor of DCFS and detained the defendant. So says a LA County attorney in a post on Facebook last week. We have not yet been able to confirm the case, but a lawyer's account remains live on Facebook. He says, quote, let that sink in. The DCFS is asking for children to be removed from their parents' custody due to COVID-19, despite the parent making the appropriate arrangements for the child. To be clear, right now we're talking about one child in one courtroom. The family, who we understand are working on filing a writ of habeas corpus to have their child returned, hasn't had time yet to finish that writ, let alone file for a full appeal. However, once there's a rotten ruling, it becomes easier for others to follow. It says here, like so many of you, we also saw the potential for danger and have kept our ear to the grind. Sure enough, now an LA County judge has just been accused of taking the plunge down the rabbit hole. To state the matter plainly, the government has no authority to remove a child from their private home simply because the child or parent has contracted COVID-19. This is especially true if indicated as the family's lawyer, the parents have made appropriate arrangements to see to it the child can be taken care of somewhere away from the infected parent. This is not and will not be the new normal. Under no circumstances will we stand stand by while innocent families suffer the humiliating and life-shattering trauma of unnecessary, unconstitutional, and unactionable separation. We are working to know more about this situation, and we will certainly stay vigilant. Thank you for joining us in this fight. Standing together, we will make sure this does not become, quote, the new normal. Families have a right to be together. Let's make sure that right is protected. Sincerely, Michael Ramey, Executive Director. This is just crazy, guys. This is so crazy. This comes out of parentalrights.org, and I'll put a link to it at extremehealthradio.com/673. So, I mean, this is just nuts, guys. So I'll put a link to the article about the benefits of molecular hydrogen, as well as the honeybee venom for breast cancer, as well as the benefits of vitamin D and the benefits of sunlight as well. And as well as the Sun article about the coronavirus death. Oh, and also for the Foundation of Economic Education, titled Europe's Top Health Officials Say Masks Aren't Helpful for Beating COVID-19. I'll put all of those available at extremehealthradio.com/673 for you guys to take a look at. So, yeah, that was a little impromptu show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Lots of cool stuff to talk about. I didn't get even an outline, so that was just some of the things that I had saved in my tabs to talk about. So I hope you guys enjoyed that show. Pass the show on to your friends, and I would really appreciate that. That would be really great if you would pass the show on to your friends, tag them on Instagram, do whatever it takes to get the word out, because the censorship is real, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show. So make sure to go ahead and do that. I really, really appreciate that. And if you guys want to come inside the Extreme Health Academy, come and join us, guys. Like I'm telling you, this is not just the most fun, but it is so great to get to know everybody and to work on your health conditions. So if you're working on any kind of health challenge right now, come and join us in the Academy. I'm telling you guys, it is so beneficial. You will get so much out of it. So you can work with me and Dr. Bergman and others as well, and we can get to the root cause and help you heal your body and whatever health challenge you're dealing with. So make sure to come and join us. There's a 2-week trial. I'll click down below. There's a 2-week free trial to the Extreme Health Academy. It's EHR 14. Come say hello in the forums. And it's one of those things where I always recommend to people, you get what you put out, right? So the more active and the more involved you are, the more you're going to get out. And I've made some really cool friends in the Academy. Anthony Childs, Jody Anderson, Rebecca, some really cool people I've met in the forums that I love meeting and sharing with. And it's nice to have a community of people who are putting these things together, because there's lots of people out there doing things. And a lot of times people will think that their work is the quintessential foundation of truth that's going to help heal everybody, but it's not. It doesn't work like that. So my job is to pull together all of these different competing ideas and synthesize them into a foundational approach that you could then use that will be actionable in your life. And that's sort of my talent, I guess, if you say I have one, is to be able to bring all these ideas together in a way that will help you restore the foundation of your health and your life. And so I love working with you guys. So it's really a lot of fun. I'm in the forums every single day. We have a live chat room every single day. Every Friday morning, we have a live call we do on Zoom. We all get to hang out as a group and share stories and protocols and things for certain conditions. We have monthly courses, we have live workshops, we have so much going on, and we have a whole protocol section, a whole organ section. You can search our entire database and find quick answers to all of your health questions. There's a section for asking Dr. Bergman section. It's just an amazing resource. So I highly recommend join us for a 2-week free trial. EHR 14 will get you in 2 weeks for free. Come and say hello in the forums so that I can introduce you and show you around and help you in any way I can. And you'll get to make friends with other people. It's one of the best things and investments you can ever do in your health. And so I highly recommend joining the Extreme Health Academy. So I'll put the coupon code as well as the link to the Academy and all the show notes as well as the different products we talked about here on this episode at extremehealthradio.com/673. So next week, who do we got? Who do we got next week? Oh, let's see. No, Daniel Vitalis, right? Yeah, Daniel Vitalis. That's going to be cool next week. That'll be great. Daniel Vitalis and then Adam Bergstrom after that. So lots of cool stuff happening around here. So thanks for joining us, guys. I hope you enjoyed that show. Yeah, I really hope you enjoyed it. And if there's anything you need from me, just let me know. And I'd love to help you out in any way I possibly can. So love you guys. And again, this was extremehealthradio.com/673 for today's show. All right, love you guys. I will see you next Friday morning. Okay, bye.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even if you educate yourself in the field of live food, nutrition, and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog is discussed in the context of numerous conditions, it can be dangerous to take action based on any information in this blog or to start any health program without first consulting a health professional. The content found here is for informational purposes only and is in no way intended as medical advice, as a substitute for medical counseling, or as a treatment/cure for any disease or health condition, and nor should it be continued as such. Always work with a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your diet, prescription drug use, lifestyle, or exercise activities. This information is provided as is, and the reader/viewer assumes all risks from the use, non-use, or misuse of this information.